Hi everyone, this is Justinian Lane of Justinian Associates, and with me today I have attorney Dustin Fox and Erik Walker. We've been off the air for a little while because there's been a lot going on, especially with Erik Walker, who's been in Philadelphia assisting another firm with trying a very complicated case regarding vaginal mesh. Erik, you want to tell us a little bit about what you were doing?
Yes, the Trans-Vaginal Mesh is a device that was placed in women, implanted in women, to help avoid a condition called stress urinary incontinence, or at least to treat that condition. Essentially, this mesh material was placed inside a woman's body to prop up the urethra and avoid accidental urination during things like activity or coughing and things of that nature. And as it turned out, the mesh was a really bad idea. It was a very bad product. The mesh would frequently break off into pieces. It became brittle. The body, it reacted negatively with the woman's body. The body was not able to act with the mesh or incorporate the mesh into the body, and it caused a great deal of pain. Many women have not been able to have intercourse at all after having mesh because the pain is so great for both them and their partners. The stress urinary incontinence problem has actually gotten worse as a result of the mesh. Many of these women are going to be in pain for the rest of their lives. They're having what are called explant surgeries, surgeries to remove as much of the mesh as possible, and some women after 5 or 6 surgeries still have a great deal of the mesh left in their bodies, and it'll be that way the rest of their lives. Their lives have been inalterably changed for the worse because of this product. Thousands of lawsuits, actually tens of thousands of lawsuits nationwide have been filed into both federal and state court over this mesh. A number of cases were filed in Pennsylvania and consolidated into a mass tort proceeding they have in Pennsylvania, and those cases are now going to trial for some of the mesh products. I was involved in one of those cases. I was brought in by the firm who is the law firm that signed up the woman, the law firm whose case it is, and they brought me in for pretrial briefing and pretrial argument, and I'm actually going to be going back up there at the end of the week to do some of the trial argument. Essentially, I'm handling legal issues for them, issues that the judge has to resolve outside the presence of the jury, things like questions regarding what evidence will and will not be allowed, what the jury instructions will say at the end of the case to the jury, what questions the jury will be asked, those kinds of things, and I'm assisting them with their trial on those various things. I'll be doing that with a number of the transvaginal mesh trials coming up.
Yeah, and it's exciting for Erik to be brought in on this because it's what he does best, which is just pure legal arguments. The defense will often raise questions about, as Erik said, which evidence should be permitted. So Erik will use his mastery of the laws of evidence, why this should get to come in, how they get to prove their case. And he works with a number of firms across the country as a hired gun to go out and try these complicated issues. So whereas the other firms will have really great knowledge about the case overall, he'll have the specialized knowledge about the specific legal issues that come up in every case. So the transvaginal mesh is a unique product with its own set of science issues, but the issues that are raised in a transvaginal mesh case, many of them are raised by the defendants in most every pharmaceutical case. Is that right?
That's true. There are going to be specific reasons why evidence is or is not admissible that has to do with the product at issue, but essentially the defendants raise the same arguments each time.
Can you tell us a little bit about the proceedings that you were there for, how things went, or how many attorneys the defense had, or just some details, kind of let people know?
Well, it went well. These are the first few transvaginal mesh, or TVM, we often call them, cases. This one is on a device called the TVT Secure or TVTS product. And because it's one of the early cases, both sides have a large number of lawyers. I would say that at any given time, there were at least 6 lawyers for each side in the courtroom, and other lawyers for the defendants back at the hotel working, probably back in their own offices working. So there's a lot of manpower on these cases to start out with, because it's very important for both sides to win the early cases, because it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the litigation. It also gives each side an idea of how much these cases are worth. These trials are often called bellwether trials. The bellwether was I think the sheep that was at the front of the herd that had the bell around it. These are kind of the cases that lead the rest of the litigation. Both sides get an idea for what the cases are worth. The plaintiffs get an idea of how much they may or may not get. The defendants get an idea of what their potential exposure is on all of their cases from these early cases. So there's a great deal of importance placed on them.